Honourable Independent Member Clark.
Well, that response...
The stench is hanging in the chamber.
Order.
It's unbelievable you're trying to walk away.
Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ms Johnston has the call.
My question is to the Minister for Housing. Minister, as you know, my office is currently assisting a single mother and her 3 young children find safe and secure housing after they escaped horrific domestic violence. For 14 months, they've been shunted from one form of emergency accommodation to another with no sense of stability or security. They are currently living in a caravan park cabin. This nomadic and unsettled lifestyle understandably has affected the children's development and severely impacted the mother's emotional and mental health. It broke my heart to hear her say, "I wish I'd stayed in the relationship and put up with the beatings because at least my children would have had a roof over their heads." Minister, this young mother has at every turn done everything asked of her by the department. Now her 3 little children face another Christmas without a permanent house they can call home. Minister, do you agree that our society must, as a priority, protect survivors of domestic violence? And what will you do to provide safe, appropriate, long-term accommodation for this desperate, beautiful family?
Honourable Minister for Housing.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank and appreciate the question from the member for Clark, Ms Johnston, for her question, and appreciate and respect the position she's coming for, advocating for one of her constituents and her children. I'm very familiar with the case, and I'm simply not prepared to discuss the case in any level of detail in this public forum. That's not appropriate. It'd be quite wrong for me to do that. But I will tell the House and the public who are listening that they ought to know that my office has been working very, very closely with this family and indeed your office, Ms Johnston, as I hope you would have acknowledged in the question. We're intimately aware of the circumstances of this family, and I can also tell the House, while it wasn't mentioned in Ms Johnston's question, improved outcomes have already been achieved compared to one scenario that was being confronted by the individual concerned and her children. So I'm pleased at least that there has been that intervention. In relation to the family, I have been written to, my office has spoken to the department directly in relation to her issues. I also understand that the individual is meeting with Housing Connect Front Door today to discuss support options that are available to her. That's vitally important to me. If it weren't the case, I'd be intervening again, but it is the case that our caring staff at Housing Connect are more than aware of and sympathetic of and wanting to support and are supporting this family with the wraparound service model that is represented by Housing Connect. I'll continue to closely monitor this case, Ms Johnston, to give you comfort that it won't be ignored or overlooked. And any support that's required in the future, we will continue to insist and expect that it will be provided through Housing Connect, the support team. They are the specialists in this area. It's my job as Minister not to make those particular interventions, but to make sure that the support is being provided by those experts, including the range of supports, not just for this individual, but for other women and indeed people in similar scenarios, escaping family violence scenarios. Safety is, of course, at the heart of the initial responses that need to be provided, but I'd agree with any member here who would expect that the government is also working to ensure that long-term and stable housing, secure housing, and indeed safe, is available long-term for people in need. So I want to make the general point that there are other families as well in this individual's circumstance that we're working to support. We'll continue to work through those issues as best as we can because this government believes that every individual, and including and especially people escaping family violence, unsafe situations, do need to have a safe and secure roof over their heads and, of course, for that of their children. And we are, in fact, acting to deliver a record number of homes for people who need it by providing an unprecedented and massive investment into public and social and affordable housing. I can inform the House that since coming to office we've already provided 1,180 more homes and supported accommodation, including the shelters that right at this moment, as we speak, construction teams right now are building expanded facilities in each region for people escaping violence in our shelters, and the shelters are very grateful for that. They will say, of course, it can't come soon enough, but they're being built right now as we speak. Added to that, of course, is the work that we're doing to deliver more youth accommodation facilities as well for, unfortunately, those kids in different age groups who need to have a safe place, and where it's safe to be able to later reunite them back with their family, where it's not safe for them to be supported through the Youth to Independence facilities. So, Ms Johnston, I thoroughly respect the position you're coming from and appreciate your advocacy. I hope you'll understand I'm not prepared to discuss the individual case in this public forum, but I'll be more than happy to continue to engage with you and your electorate officer, who my staff have been working with on, if not a daily basis, an almost daily basis. And thank you for the question.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.